This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio 2.
I took delivery of a fantastic outfit this week.
No.
You know,
It's not some superhero, is it?
maybe.
Oh, it's for the superhero thing you're on about.
Oh yeah, for the San Diego Comic Convention.
Is it a normal superhero or something you've created and drawn, had made for yourself? Or is it one that you get off the shelf?
A little bit of a crowd pleaser. Do you remember the television cartoon series Pokemon?
Yes, I do. You're not going as a Pokemon.
I'm not going as a Pokemon, no. I'm going as Ash, the young boy who carries the Pokeball.
Oh, don't be silly.
I've got everything. I've got the big blaggy blue trousers, got the waistcoat with the design in it. I've got the
But he was
baseball
about
cap
11,
with the poke
wasn't he?
thing. He was about 11. What are you implying?
What are you now, 40 what?
48. Are you saying I can't carry off 11? Are you
Yes.
saying I can't carry off 11? Have you seen me dance?
You'll be dragged out of there.
I dance like an enthusiastic 11-year-old. I'm looking great, I'm telling you. I can't wait. I tried on. It's got little gloves on.
Yeah.
I wore it downstairs the other day. Oh, scared the life out of Jane.
It did. What's she going as?
She's going as a normal person. I bought her a couple of outfits. And I bought her a kind of sexy cheerleader's outfit from Manga thing. Barely covered her buttocks. Obviously, for me, that made the design work even better, but she was not interested. So, no, put it away. I put it in my special drawer.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'll try again.
You'll try it on.
I've got a drawer of things I bring out for every year. She goes, no, put it away again. Got everything in there. Tennis outfits to work. Go on. Any luck? No, put it away. But I was busting a move to Lady Gaga this week.
Were you?
Yeah.
Not in that outfit?
No.
Just a normal outfit?
I was out in the club.
What club?
Well, it was my daughter's 18th birthday. So she was 18.
Right.
That's guaranteed to make you feel older, doesn't
And
it?
where did you go?
That, combined with the fact that the morning after the party, I received in my spam box, you get email, something for stair lifts. Now, obviously, either they'd seen me out there or they decided, oh, yeah, he's at the age now. I preferred it. I used to complain when I got the ones for the enlargements.
Yeah.
But now, stair lifts, I think I'd rather go back to that.
And that one of those special baths?
Stair lifts, walk-in baths, everything. They're all coming my way now. Lovely cushion shaped like a donut.
Radio 2.
So here's the thing. 18 years old, my daughter. 18 years old. There's lots of people out
I
there.
want to know what club it was. I said what
It
club?
wasn't a club, it was a restaurant in town, but we hired it upstairs, and because they're old enough to drink now, most of our friends, so they had a few drinks in there as well.
I see.
But they had a theme, it was a fancy dress theme.
Okay.
I mean, when I say club, there was a DJ there. Fancy dress theme, which was Circus and Burlesque.
Oh, yeah.
It's popular, and of course you think Circus and Burlesque, so you see a fair number of top hats. I myself favoured a top hat for the
Did you?
occasion, yeah.
You went as a sort of, the conductor type?
No, I just wore a top hat. I was,
right.
naked in a top hat. No, I wore a suit, but I put a top hat. I'd been working that night. I'd done the recording of the TV show, and I went straight afterwards, so I got a bit late. So I popped down quickly, grabbed the suit, grabbed one of my many top hats, and went into town.
You've got the top hat.
Yeah, let's not dwell on the hat. I'm trying to get to a story here. Let me get to the story.
No, but I'm slightly disappointed that it's Circus and Burlesque, and you basically all you did was put a hat on.
10 years, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years I've had to sit opposite this.
But you go on about how you've
I've tried
had
to
a Pokemon costume
I've
made.
tried to deliver a show for you. In 10 years, I've faced obstruction.
Look, you've got an 18-year-old daughter who I would have thought would want a bit more effort than you putting a hat on.
No, here's what you don't understand, because your kids are
You could have gone as a clown.
Here's the thing. They don't care what we come as.
No, that's
They're not in. Even if I hadn't shown up, she wouldn't have been that bothered.
Oh, dear.
It was her party for her and her friends. I went
Yeah.
along just to say hi and bring the cake out and join in a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Circus and Burlesque. So lots of people. There's a couple of the boys make the effort and dress as like weird showgirls. That's quite funny. They love that. A bit of cross dressing. A few of her young gay mates went fully over the top with everything sequin on the faces and white faces and mime and all that. Most of the girls there were dressed in a style which I really feel I can only adequately describe as Bulgarian hooker.
Well, that's sort of burlesque, isn't it?
No disrespect to those in Bulgaria working in that particular industry, but it's like wearing next to nothing. And these are children I've seen growing up from school days. These are 5 and 6 year olds who once came around their house and I'd say, let me put a cartoon on for you. Are you all right? Don't wait. It's a sleepover. I don't mind taking you home in the middle of the night. I understand it's a bit scary being in someone else's house. Now they're turning up. They're wearing high heels, stockings, knickers and small bras. That's it. That's essentially seemed to be the dress code. That was their loose interpretation of Circus and Burlesque. Stripper wear. And they were all dancing like strippers as well.
Really?
I walked in, I didn't know, I asked, what's going on? And the guy at the front door, he said, best looking crowd we've ever had in. I said, you can go to the front door as well. Stop looking in. Get out of it. He said, no, I'm not saying anything by it. I said, you are saying quite a lot by it, sir. Go tend the door. Gyrating and thrusting like nobody's business.
But you said you danced to Lady Gaga, so did you dance with anyone, or did you wait for the floor to clear?
It was an effort to clear the floor, and I was quite successful. But it's remarkable. And Harvey, my son, who's 15...
he must have been in his element,
Well, he
surely.
was there, and I said, I know it's you're a bit awkward when you're not the same age as everyone at the party. So I said, here's a job for you, Harvey. For your sister, why don't you bring your camera and you can take pictures of everyone at the party so that she's got a record of them there. He said, that's great. And I went in afterwards, didn't know, and I went, I'm sorry about this, Harvey. Just wearing pants, you ain't. Yeah, I know, Dad. It's great.
You're listening to the Jonathan Ross podcast from BBC Radio 2.
A sea lion
Yes.
named Snoopy the sea lion, okay, got in trouble in California. You will not be able to guess why. Why were the police
I know.
crossing Snoopy the sea lion?
I know. He slapped someone around the face with his flipper.
No, you would think that's a possibility, and I would imagine they would have to forgive that. It's almost like a crime of passion, isn't it? He can't help himself. It's like a Frenchman shooting his wife's lover. There's nothing you can do about that. It's going to happen, right? And if a sea lion sees a big old face, he's going to slap it. No, they wouldn't tell him off for that.
Of course they would, wouldn't they?
It's sea lion nature.
Splashing someone.
Not really. Close.
Oh, well.
Okay.
If it's not slapping or splashing, I know where I'm going with it.
He bit a boy's leg.
Yeah.
Right? But then he managed to seize control of a speedboat and drive off. So he attacked a child and then made good his escape. That's a smart sea lion, isn't it?
God, I'd love to see that.
That's a smart...
It's little flippers on the controls.
He gave police the slip. He got...
I like the word
Here's
slip.
the thing. What happened was, as far as I can understand, is he bit a boy's leg.
Yeah.
They said, no, you can't be doing that, Snoopy. Come on board. We'll put you on board this police officer's boat here and we're going to take you away. While they weren't looking, he must have seen them doing it or something. Somebody managed to take the helm, right? And it said here, according to an onlooker, the watch commander, who's a Sergeant Fritz von Vetberg,
Yeah.
he said he managed to steer the boat and even started the throttle, but we reached him before he got the lights on.
Well, he's safe anyway. He put the lights on and warned people.
Safety first with a sea lion. They're very big on procedure. Mirror, signal, manoeuvre. He's not going to
Lights.
just go off willy-nilly.
No.
He's not one of those sea lions. You're thinking of seals.
I've got this image of a seal.
He's not
about to
reckless.
start.
It's a sea lion.
Sorry, a sea lion.
It's not for nothing are they called the Lion of the Sea, you know.
No.
They're king-like in both their demeanour and their ability to steer a police craft. I'd love to see that, eh?
Yeah.
Go on. Wouldn't it be great if he'd, before he did it, though, he just cheekily reached over the side, took the bloke's cap, put it on. Just to add insult to injury. Just wore the cap.
Radio 2.
Of course, there's Honor kind of acting a role because she's never fallen from grace, and nor will she.
yet.
In reality, no. Well, you say not yet. I think you've had a pretty good run then. I don't think if it happened now, you wouldn't be too bothered, would you, Honor? That sounds lovely. I like the sound of that because that reminds me of we were talking briefly when the record was on about there's the film The Umbrellas of Cherbourg with the gorgeous Kathleen Deneuve, and of course she sings. They sing "If You Leave Me Now," or what's the French?
If You Go Away.
If you go away.
Yes. Ne me quitte pas, yes.
And that reminds me, it's got that tradition. It's kind of a spoken, sort of almost sad, reflective song, that kind of thing.
It's a chanson, really, yes.
Did you ever see any of those people? Did you ever get to see those people who perform that kind of thing at the time live? Did you ever see Scott Walker or...
I didn't. I remember seeing Lena Horne
Yeah.
singing Newfangled Tango, which was without doubt the sexiest thing that's ever been sung.
Not to be confused with Benny Hill's Milkballed Tango, I believe, which is on his album. But you had that album years ago. We mentioned the album with Kinky Boots on it, of course.
Yes.
With Patrick McNee. Are you in touch with Patrick McNee? Does he...
Do you know, we're very naughty. You know, sometimes at Christmas we do. But you know, he's been in Palm Springs forever. Everybody thinks that he went recently, but he went directly after our Avengers, really.
Wow.
So,
And that's a great, if you want, if you're going to retire in comfort, that's a place to be, isn't it?
absolutely.
Is it true in the papers this week there's been talk about him inviting you for a nude game of tennis, a knock-up with no clothes on? Have you
That's
seen?
right.
Wow.
What?
Wow, did you not see this story?
No, I haven't seen that story.
Patrick apparently called on and said...
Yes, well, I was there, and I said, when are we going to meet? He said, well, I'm playing tennis, come up and see us, Everything will be waving about, he said, but come up and see us.
Is this a Palm Springs tradition, do we know, or is it just Patrick?
It's a Patrick McNee tradition.
You see, that's what I want from
what Wimbledon
Steve.
needs.
That's what you want Steve to be. I hope he just kept the bowler hat on, that's it, just for decorum's sake and somebody to keep his balls. Anyway, Honor Blackman is with us. I'm delighted. I was looking back at some of the parts, and I don't know if you heard earlier, I mentioned some of the things I'd like to talk about. Working with Patrick McGowan in Danger Man,
Yes.
Roger Moore, The Saint, and that was a great period in British television.
Yes, it
wasn't
was. Yes, I enjoyed it. I mean, one nipped in and nipped out of all sorts of things. And Roger Moore's still marching on, isn't he?
God bless him, still
What's
fabulous
happening
as ever.
to Patrick McGowan? I don't know.
Patrick McGowan, sadly, is no longer with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he passed sometime this year, I believe.
Oh, right.
Sean Connery was another co-star of yours, of course, but more than once. Was he in Shalako with you as well? Was that?
Yes.
I think.
Nightmare film, that was.
In which way?
Because I suffered so much. Because I had to have this what was tantamount to sand poured in my face, jewels shoved down my face.
Not nice.
And worse was I had 6 Spanish stuntmen all trying to pull my clothes off.
Blimey.
And nobody had... No, I don't like your face.
Well,
I'm slightly...
well, you're doing the hand gestures there. I thought the blouse was going to be loosened briefly. I thought, I know it's hot outside and we're talking about Shalako, but let's face it, I'm no Sean Connery. You have the look of a Spanish stuntman about there, if you don't mind me saying that, doesn't he? He looks a little bit like he could take a punch.
Nobody had snipped the seams, and so eventually bits of my flesh went with it.
Oh, blimey.
And it really was a
That's
nightmare.
not nice.
Yes.
But even so, a fun film, and that was a hit, wasn't it? They were the hit movies. I think it was a hit.
Reasonable. Yeah. But I mean, it had, what's her name? Oh, God, Brigitte Bardot.
Oh,
and Sean, and it was a very strange film.
Was she animal mad even then? Did you...
No, she hardly spoke to anyone. When we made that, she'd recently attempted suicide twice, and nobody left her alone. And she had an entourage around her, and one said good morning, good afternoon, that sort of thing, but that's all. You didn't get to talk to her at all.
It couldn't have been less fair. So she's being guarded and everyone's keeping an eye on her and giving all the love and attention. Meanwhile, you're being manhandled by 6 burly Spaniards.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's I think you need to speak to your agent about that even now and say, what were you thinking? I love the fact that you're still working and that you're still out there and you're still delivering great performances as well. I'm assuming you have absolutely no intention of retiring.
None.
Good.
Why should I?
I'm not saying you should.
I mean, all this retiring business, I don't know what's so good about it. We have a wonderful job. Well, I imagine you think your job's wonderful.
I do. I don't know if Andy shares that feeling. He's on the receiving end.
We have fun. Lots of lovely people.
Enough spare time off if you want to do things and potter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, it's not like it involves heavy lifting, does it? Really? So it's not like
For me, that would be absolutely no good at all.
Jonathan Ross, online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2.
Honor Blackman is with us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to say we've been chatting, during the news we were chatting about some of the movies you've been in as well, of course, but I just noticed one real early one. I want to ask this whether you remember making this. A Boy, a Girl and a Bike. 1949, and you played Susie Bates.
I got very saddle sore in that, I have to tell you.
That's your one memory, you're getting very saddle sore.
Well, yes, that and the fact that must have been part of the reason the British film industry went down the drain.
Was it not a good one?
We spent 6 months up in Yorkshire waiting for the rain, waiting for the sun, waiting for...
God, I haven't seen that one. I'm going to track that one down. All of this is coming out again now, of course. You know, all these movies that years ago. Because I guess during the 60s and 70s, if people have missed it when it was released, unless they caught it on TV, they didn't get to see it again. Whereas then we had video and DVD.
Missed.
Oh, well now, I think there'll be people YouTubing A Boy, a Girl and a Bike.
Di Dawes in that.
Oh, Diana Dawes.
And Tony Newley in that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, that's must-see for the weekend for me. I'm going to find that. You know, I mentioned Danger Man. I mentioned, what's her name? I mentioned The Saint. But you were also in an episode of Columbo.
Yes, I was.
I loved Columbo. We were talking about just the other week, weren't we?
I think last week we talked
And your
about
career, presumably you flew to America for that. You would flip-flop between the United Kingdom and the United States.
Well, you could tell by the terrible English accents in it, because it was supposed to be set in London.
That episode was
played in the States. And I also remember the very first shot on the very first day. Richard Basehart was my husband, and we were both famous actors, and we had just killed this man the night before, and we went to his house to talk to his butler, I suppose it was his butler, but whoever looked after him.
His manservant.
Yes. And to say, you know how sorry we were and all that. And we went up the steps, and Willie Hyde-White was playing the man, threw open the door, smiling all over his face. Oh, good morning, Miss this, and good morning, Mr. that. And I thought, hold on, sweetheart, your boss has just been killed last night. What are you doing? And that's the way he played the scene. And normally I would say, what the hell do you think you're doing? But it was my first day on the picture.
Politeness rules,
Yeah. So I shut up, and a fortnight later, somebody, his second assistant, came in and threw scripts to us all and said, we're reshooting 26 or whatever it was. And Willie Hyde-White said, oh, why are we doing that? I said, I can tell you exactly why. and I said, why were you grinning all over your face? Oh, ho, ho, was I, he said. And he said, I never read the rest of the script. I only read my dialogue.
He didn't know but that would explain it, because whenever I'd see movies, I love seeing him movies, but at the same time, he was a terrible ham, God bless him.
Yes.
And also, it was always exactly the same performance.
Yes, exactly.
He had one performance, which he gave in every film, no matter what was going on around him.
Yeah.
But I like that about movies then. You know, you had these people who were stars, and when they turned up in the film, they were kind of minor suspects, but they were there as a presence, and that's what they did.
Yes.
They did that thing. It must have been a great period to go to Hollywood in the 60s, in the 70s. It must have been, because that's when it was still, the studio system was still ruling, and films were being made differently to the way they're made now. I mean, there was a real kind of glamour attached to the business, wasn't there?
Yeah, I made a picture with Mervyn LeRoy. Sadly, it wasn't a good film, with Gene Seberg. But it was a tragic number, and Moiv was good at the gangsters and stuff, you know. He was really tough. But I loved him, and he was great. And I told him that I couldn't say the script as it was very American. So he said, OK, honey, tell me before, show me the dialogue before. And I never did. I said, let me do it for you, Mervyn. And he was lovely. We just had a ball. And I think it was one of the best performances I've ever done, but sadly the film didn't succeed.
That must be. I'm sure that's something which is quite common. Actors, they give a great performance in a movie which isn't as good as the film should be, and that must be difficult to deal with, though.
Yes, it was sad, because had it been successful, they were going to push me for some award and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't good. It was so funny. There was a guy called Sean Garrison who played opposite Gene, and he was just, bless him, impossible. He was a singer, and I don't know if this was his first acting job, and it was 2 steps to the right, 2 steps to the left, one of those awful things that you watched going on because he couldn't do it. Oh. And then on the night of the premiere down in Miami, and I was with Mervyn, and we'd been doing press and stuff, and we got to the club where we were having the party, and Sean Garrison was up there singing like a bird and absolutely wonderful. And Merv said, oh, God, we should have had him sing the damn part, you know.
You know, you're in many movies which I love and appreciate and watch again and again. When on TV they're filmed. One of them, Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh, yes.
Wow, Jason the Argonauts with the great and being made, and I believe that was directed by Ray Harryhausen as well as him doing the effects.
No, it was directed by Don Chaffee.
Don Chaffee, so he's
but
been
Ray Harryhausen did all the
hard work.
Yes, all the hard work. Yes,
what a great film! And how was that when you're working in scenes? Because I don't think you have many, but there are some scenes when you're working against. I think they called it Super Dynatron or something. The effects technique with the stop motion. Did you have any scenes where you're working against things that weren't actually there?
No, I didn't. I mean, one of the things I remember was they were going to make a model of me for the prow of the ship, and there are ridiculous photographs hanging around somewhere with me in my bra and pants like this, with my arms flung out.
Titanic style, ready to sail.
I don't know who's got those pictures.
Well, I should imagine them in a private collection somewhere, along with the boots you wore in the Avengers.
Yeah.
Anna, where were you from originally? Where were you born in London?
I was born in Plaster.
In Plaster, in East London. And you had, so presumably you had elocution lessons. You had something which changed.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. On my 16th birthday, my father offered me a bicycle or elocution lessons. And I knew which he wanted me to choose. And I think I did too. But anyway, it opened an entirely new world to me. So.
And as we know, you got saddle sore later in life anyway when you were filming a girl, a bike, and an inconvenient...
A boy and a bike.
A boy, a bike, and a brassiere on the front of a boat. Have you been back? Have you visited your childhood home? Do you know?
No, I haven't. I must go. I must go.
We should go. Well, let's wait till the day they put the plaque on. If there wasn't one there already, let's campaign for that and get the blue plaque on.
Absolutely. Cumberland Road, remember, will you?
Well, you know, who knows? It might not even be there anymore.
I think it is. I looked it up in the A to Z and it still exists.
Was it a new edition of the A to Z? Or was it one you've had in the car for about 5 years?
Let me just say it's not.
No, I'm just saying everything changes so quickly these days. You've got to be up to the minute. Because when I last went down to where I grew up, which is in Leytonstone, although I spent a lot of my sort of young adulthood in that part of East London, it's so dramatically changed. I barely recognise it.
Yes,
I mean, it's such a different place now.
It's like Littlehampton, where we used to go as children, and I can't recognise that anymore.
Wow.
It's rather sad.
But, change is going to happen. That's the one thing that doesn't change, is that change will happen. That's bordering on the profound.
Or confusing.
Don't get too excited.
Hold it. Excuse me while I write that down.
That changes or what?
No, I'm writing it down for Anna. She wants me to write that down. She wants to quote that next time she plays new tennis with Patrick McNee. The Avengers and the Bond movie, the two things that always follow you around, I guess, aren't they?
Always.
What is it about those, you think, that really clicked with people?
Well, I think the Avengers broke new bounds, really, because she was the first person who'd ever done judo. It was always that thing that women will never be the equal of men because they're not strong enough and all that. And all of a sudden, excuse me, you had this woman who could hurl people about. I mean, because judo's wonderful, that you can only use it if somebody uses force against you.
Use the opponent's strength against him or herself, yeah.
Yes. So it made a great impression, and the black leather made a certain impression.
I'm sure you got a certain following because of those two components.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of men out there who like the idea of being bossed around by a lady in black. But it was more subtle than it would be today, wasn't it? I mean, it was sort of...
Well, our relationship, Patrick's and mine, was great fun and very saucy, and everybody was waiting for me to succumb to his charms, and it would have been disaster had I ever done so.
Of course. I have, they had some toys and stuff at the time, and I have the Steed walking stick that I was given for Christmas as a child. It's not. I can't walk with it anymore because it's designed for like a 7-year-old, so I'd have to be stooping. But it's a plastic thing, and you used to push it, and it would fire red bullets at the end. But you guys didn't get any cut from the merchandising, did you? You didn't get any.
No, nothing. No, nothing.
What about the Bond movie? Of course, the famous name, and it's still, it's not even really double entendre. It's Pussy Galore. It's about as blatant a Bond person's name as you could have. But at the time, you must have all thought, how can we get away with this?
Oh, I didn't worry very much about that, but I was made to worry in America in the promotion tour, because there were 2 or 3 interviews who wouldn't say it.
Wow.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even say it?
No, they wouldn't say it.
Wow.
So.
But they stuck to their guns.
Yeah, so...
Sean Connery, I've been told I remind people of a young Sean Connery. He had an animal... Don't laugh. He had a... Oh, no, that's rude. A bit rude. He had an
animal magnetism.
An animal magnetism, yes. And one hell of a chest on him.
Yes.
What a good-looking hunk of man.
Well, he was... What was he? What was he?
He was Mr. Something, wasn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Universe, I think.
Mr. Universe, yeah.
After being a milkman, wasn't he?
Did he have anything of a Scottish accent at all left? I mean, obviously the one on screen, but did he have a broader accent? Did he ever slip into the full Glaswegian with you?
No, not while he was with me. He didn't. Maybe I didn't bring it on.
You know why? He was probably on best behaviour with you, Anna.
Do you think?
You should have given him a little bit of plasto, and he'd have given you a little bit of... he'd have given you a bit of the Gorbals right back.
Tried it.
What does the summer hold for you? Where do you spend your time in the summer? Do you spend it here in the UK? Do you travel at all?
I have a house in Spain, and that's where we go. And now my children have 2 glorious children each, and I shall be with them.
So Grandma will be looking after the kids. That must be the nicest thing, isn't it?
Yes, it's heaven.
Oh, so Grandma has somewhere in Spain with the kids?
Yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
Well, that will be fantastic, I hope. I'm sure you're going to have a lovely summer ahead. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to spend some time in your company. On a Blackman single, The Star Who Fell from Grace is out. Will you be performing? Are you going to do any sort of a little supper club gig maybe with this and a few other choice chansons?
No, not yet.
Come on, don't be so lazy. I tell you what, if you play
holiday time.
If you play your cards right, I'll get Andy to get that rainbow track out for you. You can put that in the repertoire. Because I can see how much you like that one. How lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us. The lovely Honor Blackman, ladies and gentlemen.
Jonathan Ross. Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2.
Did you watch the tennis last week? Did you see the...
I did, yes.
It was a long one, wasn't it?
It was a long. Was it 1860 in the end?
It was too long. A number of people I know who had to be placed. I was speaking to someone today, and he was away, and he was meant to be leaving with his wife to drive back, and he was sitting there, and they were going, come on, we want to go on, Mr. Traffic. He's going, yeah, 5 more minutes. And of course, it wasn't. It was about another hour.
Yeah. Very long, very long.
Jimmy Carr was around my house to watch it.
Was he?
He came around. We had a game in the morning. Very frustrating game.
What, for you or him?
For me. He's a nightmare to play against.
Why?
Chips. Boring.
But he's sussed your game. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Nah, boring. Here's the thing, if you're listening, Jimmy, play like a man for once, will you?
Well, he just chips all the time.
Yeah, all the time. And then finally you make a mistake because you're hitting it back, you get bored.
So he plays very defensively. Just waiting for the unforced error.
Yeah. Bloody nightmare. So I was furious by then going back. And I do, as I'm sure you can work out, when I'm playing tennis, more so than I used to, I do a running commentary all the way through now. I do. Great shot from Ross. Oh, awesome shot. Even if I do say so myself. Fabulous shot.
Oh, dear.
You got lucky.
Well, that's enough to be annoying anybody. No
great shot. Another winner from Ross. Another great shot. Terrific smash. Oh, lucky ball from Carr. Lucky. You know, you got to do the commentary on that.
Yeah, of course.
So he was around, and then afterwards he stayed with me to watch it.
Yeah.
So we'd go in. We had a quick shower each, separate rooms. And then sit down. Jane made some lunch. We're sitting down to watch it. Of course, immediately I'm sitting down after going to this. I start falling asleep. Jimmy Carr keeps waking me up, shaking me. He said, "This is one of the greatest sporting events you can possibly see." You don't. I said, "I'm watching, half asleep." He had to leave early, bizarrely. You know why he had to go? He had to miss the end of it.
Probably had a gig.
He was opening for someone. Guess who he was opening for?
I don't know. Another comedian or a band?
Just have a guess who he was opening for.
Oasis.
Killers.
Why is he opening for the Killers?
I don't know.
Why would Jimmy Carr?
Imagine if you're in the audience for the Killers,
and then comes
Killers
Jimmy
are going to start. Then out comes Jimmy Carr. Hello. Can't believe my luck.
He's a joke.
Oh, nice to see you. Oh, Killers on in 20 minutes. Thought I'd do a couple of jokes. It's a big room. Let's do a Mexican wave. I asked him, I said, how'd it go? He said, just about got away with it.
Yeah,
just about got away with it.
Very odd. Why do they want that? I mean, no disrespect to Jimmy, but if you want to see the Killers, you don't want anyone on beforehand, do you?
He doesn't look like he could even be a member of the Killers, does he?
No, he's not a Brandon Flowers, is he?
You get someone like, if Russell was opening for a rock band, he looks a bit like a rock person, you get away with it. Jimmy Carr comes out, he looks like he works for a building society. Hello, I just thought I'd take a couple of minutes before the Killers come on to tell you about our new preferential loan rate. Can't believe your luck. 6% APR. Yeah, they come the Killers. You know, that's what you feel like you're going to get. Anyway, okay, but what a fantastic effort.
Yeah.
My heart, I felt for Andy Wallach.
Yeah, I did. But there was something, I think, for him to take that record, I think was worthy of his...
But we had him in here, and what a charming and lovely man, what a sweet man, and I wanted him in because I love the Federer, and I wanted Federer to beat Sampras's record because, never liked his game at all.
Well, I think he had a little bit more to it than that. He could hold the racket very well.
I don't even like the way he's losing his hair. Even that's annoying me. Do something about it. Either shave it off or buy a wig. Right? You know you're going to be on TV. You're Wimbledon champion. Do one way or the other. Do something. Or buy a cap. Right? So he's sitting there. I didn't like the look of him.
You didn't like the look of him. What about Bjorn Borg? His hair's gone a bit bonkers as well, isn't it? That's like a big plume he's got on the top of his head.
You got to love Bjorn Borg. You got to love Bjorn Borg. You got to love McEnroe. All these great guys from the 70s in their tight shorts.
And then Boris sitting there.
Boys, I like to believe. Boris's commentary is great, but it's like the Terminator doing commentary, isn't it? I think if he do not win, he will be back. At one stage, he saw there was a movie director in the crowd. I can't remember who it was. He saw him and went, the great movie director, he maybe make a movie of this. And then there was a shot of Russell Crowe went, he could star in the movie of this. He was absolutely thrilled that he'd managed to put two people together. You could see him sitting back thinking, job done. Job done. That's it. That's me saved next year for the commentary. Job done. There's the movie director. Yes, okay, Wednesday. She could be in the movie too. She could be the bald girl.
Radio 2.
That's a lovely sound. Who's that? Huh? What do you mean?
Why do you ask that question?
Was it the Beatles?
No, you always do that.
That was Oasis, ladies and gentlemen. The hugely talented Noel Gallagher is with us right here, right now. Do you see what I did there?
Very good. Well done.
Oh, yeah. That's one of our songs.
I just thought that. Okay. So what's the story?
Morning Glory.
Hey?
Well, some might say, Jonathan, that...
Wow, there we go. We're on a roll. Let's go to an advert before we lose it.
You nearly did it as well, then.
Did we?
Oh, yeah. You're on a roll.
Oh dear. Oh, he kills it. 10 years I've had to work.
No, there you are. That was quite good. Rolling it.
Noel, how are you? How's the tour going? How are you enjoying it?
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Right near the end now, I guess, isn't it?
August is the British tour finishes after Wembley. Then we do V Festival at the end of August, and then officially we finished on the 31st of August in Milan.
And then what after that? A little break, a little rest time.
A big holiday for me, and then I think. Liam's doing his clothing thing.
He's got a fashion line. He's got clothing coming, hasn't he?
Yes, he
He's
has.
always been the best dressed member of the band. Will you be wearing any of his clothing items?
No.
Have you seen any of his clothing items?
Yeah. He wears it all the time. Yeah.
He wears like the parkery things he makes.
He wears it all, down to the socks. He's all kitted out.
So it's nice stuff.
Well, should we move on?
so it's just not your. But you're quite.
I think we'll move on before we give the tabloids any more headlines.
You're quite utilitarian in your approach to clothing, aren't you?
Well, it's a function.
Yeah.
I dress because nudity is outlawed in the street. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm not really minded about.
But you have
clothes.
a style. You do have a style. It's a kind of.
Well, it's a kind of what is it? A kind of
rough and ready.
Well, wealthy idiot style.
No. You,
a bit like yourself.
Yeah. I'm far more flamboyant. Look at that. Check those out.
I couldn't miss them, and I wasn't going to mention it.
No.
Nothing wrong with them wheels.
They're called wheels, apparently. No.
What? These?
Yeah, apparently they said there's wheels. Your wheels.
Red patent leather
booties
that
a boxer might wear.
that are hiding. Equally as hideous a pair of socks.
I almost wore my lederhosen. You're lucky you got off lightly.
I do like that look, though.
Yeah, it's a good look.
And then, of course, with the green jacket.
What's wrong with that? What's on it?
I don't know.
I bet Liam would like it.
Yeah, he would. He would.
All right, that's enough about Liam. Stop talking about Liam. Okay, Reverend and the Makers have been supporting you. The Enemy have been supporting you. Kasabian, you've had a fantastic. There are only a couple of bands who have been supporting you who I haven't heard of. Twisted Wheel, I've never heard anything by them. And although I've heard of the Peth, because that's Reese fans, isn't it? I haven't heard any of their music. What kind of sound do those two have?
Twisted Wheel are a bit kind of like the Jam and the Pogues. It's quite frantic, kind of 3-minute punk songs.
I like the sound of it.
They're managed by our management, which is why they've managed to wangle themselves on the bill.
But are they good? You like the sound?
Yeah, good. Yeah. They're from Manchester as well.
Are they signed by anyone yet?
I think they're
signed. Yeah,
they've got
Have you
an
heard
album.
Yeah.
They've got a great tune called "She's a Weapon."
She's a Weapon.
And the Peth sound like there's 11 in the band. If you can believe that. When they were playing with us on stage in Cardiff, it looked like Woodstock.
You know what? That's never going to work.
No, and they all talk Welsh. Right, and obviously Reese is one of the 4 lead singers. He actually done the gig on crutches because, and he didn't break his leg in a drinking accident. He was tackled by a 6-year-old in the park playing football.
This sounds like the worst kind of nightmare imaginable.
But the music sounds like I would say the Happy Mondays, Black Grape kind of thing.
So it's got a good kind of party sound to start.
There's grooving and there's a lot of shouting and a lot of waving your fist in the air.
And of the band you've had supporting you, and maybe you can't be too brutal here, but which ones have gone down best with the Oasis fans? Because presumably that's who's mainly coming along. I'm sure some Kasabian fans have gone along who also like Oasis, and they've gone, but mainly it's Oasis.
Yeah,
fans.
I mean, I'd have thought us, the Enemy, and Kasabian draw the same kind of crowd anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always going to be Kasabian for me. They've just had their biggest hit with that song Fire, and it's been going mental for them, but also for the Enemy as well. You know, everybody's been pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, I do like the Enemy. They are the smallest band, I think, currently touring the UK, aren't they?
Yeah, I think one of them could officially work for a circus.
Yeah. Cleaning the elephant, right? With a small stepladder.
Tom the singer he points a lot and shouts when he talks. He doesn't talk to you, he shouts to you.
He's quite intense, isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
But they're great. Good. We had them in here last week. They're a fabulous group of young men. Have you got a farm yet? No.
Have I got a farm?
Yeah.
No.
Come on, you got to get a farm.
Have you got a farm?
Actually got a farm.
It's nothing to do with me. The rock and roll lifestyle dictates to me that you get to a certain stage in the UK, you need to buy a farm.
Yeah,
you need to go that route. You need to get a farm.
No, I'm not. Have you got a farm? No. Mind you're not rock and roll, no. Hence the boots.
Oh, I'm more disco.
No, I haven't got a farm, and I wouldn't want a farm.
Why would you not want a farm?
Well, what would I do with it?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, ask yourself that question.
I was born in the inner city slums of Manchester.
Exactly. So now you've made a few beans, you want to get out there and get a farm.
I've got an house out in the sticks with big.
That'll do then. Because I like to think it's like, imagine the old days. Black Sabbath came out from tour, right? And Ozzy had to go out to his farm somewhere.
Well, Roger's got his was it trout farm or something?
Yeah.
Trout farm.
Has he still got his trout farm?
I think he probably still has. Yeah.
He has, yeah.
It's the kind of thing I have you earmarked for.
I like living in the city. I like weekends out in the country, but I couldn't do it all the time.
Oh, I'd like to think you're in a farm, going slowly mad.
No.
As rock
The only
stars
reason
should.
I would buy a farm would be to start a festival.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
That's not a good idea. Yeah, you can do that.
Do you? What do you do, hobby-wise? Do you have anything? Do you collect anything? You ever made a pot in your life or a vase? You know that kind of crafts. You ever sew anything?
Never made any pot.
You ever colour? Do you colour in?
No, I do any dot to dots. No,
Yeah, it's good. It's a stress buster.
For a hobby. Actually, do you know what? I'm lucky enough that my hobby is my job. But I don't.
boring.
But
boring
that's the truth, though.
Yeah, but boring.
I watch a lot of football. I don't really have any hobbies.
Boring. Do you do a Sudoku? Can you do the cryptic Sudoku?
No.
You ever tried one?
No, I don't even know. I've seen one on the back of the newspaper and just thought, I don't even know what is it.
It's a puzzle.
You try and
Put in the numbers,
you add all the numbers together, think of a vegetable, and then
that's it.
and then you get the.
You're being rude.
What is it? I'm not being rude.
You're being rude about
do you
it.
do Sudoku?
Yeah, I'm very good at Sudoku.
Why?
Because it's a stress buster.
Aren't they doing like a letter one? I'm told.
Yeah,
a letter Sudoku.
Kazuko, I think it's called.
Is it really?
I don't know.
You've got too much time on your hands. Don't
No, listen, you've got loads of time in your hands. What do you do with your time? Just strumming ripping off a few songs and adding new words to it.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of time, though.
Let's write a song now. No, let's write a song now.
Okay, what?
Have you got a guitar with you?
I've got a guitar. I was waiting for this very reason.
I thought you carried on. Hold it, Kasabian, come back in. We need to buy you a melodica. Let's put some music on, and when we come back, Noel will have written another anthem for a new generation.
You're listening to the Jonathan Ross podcast from BBC Radio 2.
Wilson Pickett, land of 1,000 dances, exactly 1,000.
I'll have ripped that off by the end of the time.
We were just writing a new song now by
What's
Oasis.
it called?
Land of 1,000 dances.
I'll write one called Land of 100 Dances.
Land of 100 dances. Let's do that.
That's at my school, that. Write that down.
Write it down. There you go. Give that Liam for his new shirt range. Noel Gallagher's with us, ladies and gentlemen. He is the frontman and leading talent in Oasis, possibly the biggest British band of the last 15 years or so. Would that be fair? You and Blur, of course, were next, and they've reformed now. They went away for a while. Now they've reformed. Who's the best band now? Blur or Oasis?
I'd have thought, if I'm going to put my money on it, Kasabian.
You're genuinely a big fan of theirs, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's good.
I love him.
Okay, how's life as a father? How are you enjoying that kind of side of your life?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's great.
How old's your baby now?
I've got a daughter that's 9. I've got a lad that's 2 in September.
Wow.
And, it's great fun.
And do you get to spend much time? Do they come on tour with you? Are they allowed to
I don't really like when my family come out on tour. You've always got to make sure they're looked after and, always mithering for stuff.
Also, you can't get on with stuff in the same way, can you? You can't enter.
I can't get on with hanging around backstage, reading the papers and smoking.
Yeah, which is what you want to do.
Which is, that's why you join a band, isn't it? Wear sunglasses and smoke.
Do you like a regular tea, or do you have like an Earl Grey tea?
Yorkshire.
Or a Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea.
Very, very straightforward.
Strong. Yeah, Yorkshire, absolutely Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah. Do you like chip sandwich?
Well, I tell you what I like about the Yorkshire tea is somebody has invented the hard water tea bag for the London area only.
I've heard of this.
No. Unbelievable.
And is there a difference?
Yes, there is, because when I go out to
this is what
one of my other houses out in the countryside,
the farm,
I use the Yorkshire Gold because we're in a soft water area.
Yorkshire Gold. He's got this is it. This is what I was hoping for. The mundanity of real life when you get to the top.
Yeah.
Getting the chickens in and then making your own Yorkshire tea. This is exactly what I want. As you go slightly, he's got a farm, he's got several, he's just lying. This is what I want. One of his farms has loads of people making trousers for his brother. Okay, well that's good to know then. So you're not, but you are. Do you have any kind of a taste? Are you someone who sticks to kind of the taste of things that you grew up in perversely because you don't want to be seen as having changed, or are you open to new things, thinking that's great regardless of where it comes from, regardless if it might be seen, from an expensive area or more kind of like sophisticated?
Well, I'd never had a Chinese meal until I was about 22. And I'd never...
But why was that? There must have been Chinese restaurants near you in Manchester.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's just...
Why, you just hadn't done that?
What? Chinese food?
Well, I understand this. I hadn't had till I was about 20.
Right.
Actually, and I loved Indian. First time I had a Chinese one, you know what, this is a sad thing. Before I went out, I was so scared I wouldn't find anything I wanted to eat, I had 2 toast toppers.
I remember when coming to London early on and... kind of going out with this girl, and she wanted to go out one night for dinner, and I didn't know what I said. what do you mean go out for dinner? For a start, it's called tea up north.
Yeah.
And they say, go out for dinner. Where it is? Like a restaurant. A restaurant? A restaurant? And what do you do in these restaurants? Well, you eat food and then you drink. And it's like, yeah, but
you don't know the
just
routine.
go to the pub.
You've never been to one. You don't know what you're going to do.
No, we just go to the pub and get a packet.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? But I remember not knowing what to do in a restaurant.
Strange, isn't it?
You just sit down there and wait all that time, not do anything, in the same chair.
And the guy comes over and the first thing he says is, "Can I get anything to drink?" I'm like, "It's a restaurant. Come here to eat."
So which was
a pint of bitter, please?
Which was the first meal you went for as a grown-up under your own steam?
On my own steam.
Was it Chinese or Indian?
I think it's a Chinese. Yeah. I think it was with
this girl.
No. I think it might. No. With a girl. I actually didn't end up going for the meal with the girl. It's just like, there's no way. That's it then. I don't know. What do you do? Talk while. See, when I go out for dinner with my missus, she gets really. I do that northern thing of when the food comes, I don't say a word until it's eaten. Yeah, I just eat it, and then I'll eat it really, really quick.
I'm not drinking that tea. It's made with hard water.
And then Sarah will be cutting one bit of asparagus into 18 pieces, and I'll just be like,
sharing emotions and that kind of thing. Talking about the day.
Have you got any creme brulee, geezer? Nope. Can't write.
Have you ever had? Did you used to have those restaurants where they had like a little special dessert card, and they would do things like an ice cream, an orange sorbet served in an orange? You know, they'd scoop out an orange. It was from the freezer. They had that at my local Indian. I thought that was class.
Do like the mints afterward. And that's another thing after the mint after the meal.
The idea of finishing a meal with a chocolate.
With the chocolate mint.
It's a great idea, isn't it?
Yeah, but when you're 20 and you're from Manchester, it's like, what, mints now? Now?
That's one of your albums, wasn't it? Mints Now, wasn't
it? Julie Clary's autobiography, wasn't it?
Hey, there we go. He hasn't lost it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so now solo album. When's that happening?
There isn't happening.
Come on,
it isn't happening.
Come on.
Some might say that they're all solo albums. They've just got the band's name on the front. You can, in fact,
what was that noise you made then? It's like a couple of cows. You thought he was back on the farm for a minute. But I keep hearing about the possibility of a solo album. Come on, everyone does it. You've got to do it. Let's get in touch with your feminine side, maybe. Get more personal, get more intimate. Call it Noel, up close. Just you on the cover with the guitar, looking a bit sad. Looking like you looked when that thing dropped on your foot when you were a kid.
Well, like that.
Yeah, oh, in pain. The pain of creation coming out of you.
No. There's no plans to do anything after this tour apart from go on a holiday.
But when you write stuff, do you ever write stuff and think, okay, this is a great song, I think I've written a great song here, it's not right for Oasis?
Oh yeah, I've got tons of songs which wouldn't really.
And where are they?
They're on my music farm.
Well, what are we going to do with them?
Gloucestershire.
What are we going to do with them?
We can farm them out.
Why don't we give them a Duffy?
Do you know, funnily enough, I'd rather trap my finger in the door.
I like Duffy. I like the way she rides that bike in that advert.
Oh, it's colossal, isn't it?
It looks like a duck riding a bike. I've never seen it. It's like, she looks like she's leapt out of a pond.
But if you think of the premise of the advert, she's gone off for the encore. I'll just go and get a Diet Coke on this drop handlebar racer, which actually don't exist anymore.
But on your New York tour, Liam did that and forgot to come back, didn't he?
Yeah, that was one of the better gigs, though.
Oh dear. Okay, now America, you're still not that huge in America, are you?
Sold out Madison Square Gardens 4 times. I don't know. Well, bigger than you. Let's put it that way.
Hang on, don't suddenly get defensive. I'm not having a go.
Sold out the Hollywood Bowl.
All right. I'm not having a go. I'm just saying you're not as big there as you are here.
Sold out the Hollywood Bowl.
No.
Yeah, but they're not as
Madison
big
Square
there.
Gardens.
No, they're not as big there as they are here.
No. We wouldn't sell a couple of million albums there. That's for sure.
Yeah. And so, is that something on the horizon? You think we're going to go out there and give it a year and try and do it like Slade? Slade tried to do it and they never made it. They went out there. And
I think too much pressure is put on this thing about trying to. We had our first 3 albums were huge out there, and then our record company suddenly realised, hang on a minute, these lot are really unprofessional. And they're like, if they're not going to bother turning up to the MTV Awards when we've won everything and not bother turning up. Yeah. So MTV said, right, well, if you're not going to play the game, we're not going to play your videos. And then our American record label, these are the other bands on the roster, the other big acts, Mariah Carey and Celine Dion and Oasis, right? Yeah. These were the 3 big acts. So one of them's going to get the drop, you know what I mean? And we'd kind of Liam gobbed at somebody at the MTV.
I remember seeing that. That did seem unwise, even by his standards. But at the same time, it was the spirit of the moment.
One word is what I said to him. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. He was just trying to be a bit.
Why?
Wasn't he? He was
but
a bit.
Why? You know,
I think he felt out of sorts, didn't he? He felt a little bit out of place.
Why spitting? Why?
It's never nice.
Swear? You know, I don't know. Spitting. But what? Not even like a long.
It was the sort of thing that a tramp would do.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
But the picture's colossal because he's wearing a brown suit.
I remember seeing it going out, and I think we all said at home. I turned to my wife and said, "Why?
Yeah,
why the suit?"
I mean, it was one of those moments. Well, no, why this bit?
But then I said to him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, we shouldn't have been doing it anyway." It's like, but when we got asked to do it, I remember you going, "Yeah, it'd be brilliant." It's like, why don't you just say?
He had a lot of other issues at the time, though, didn't he? He seems to have resolved them. He seems to have worked them out through his seamstress skills now.
He has indeed.
His t-shirt manufacturing plant.
Yeah.
Now, so you have a holiday coming up. You've got to break there. I think, I suspect in a few years' time, you're going to move on to something else. I think you're going to do something either like a rock opera, right? I can imagine you, or doing something like that, or maybe a movie score, something like that. I can imagine you turning your skills.
I was actually thinking of doing, and I run this idea by it, of a reggae opera, but based on Star Wars.
Why?
Well, because if we're doing the trilogy, the first one would be called Jar Wars.
Yeah, very good.
Right,
He's thought this through. Come on, this better be good.
I've had this one.
Jar Wars.
Yeah, right. The Empire Smokes Black.
Yeah, very good. I like that already.
And then Return of the Dreadeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that marvellous note, we're going to say goodbye to you and goodbye to Noel's career as a stand-up comedian. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Noel Gallagher, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/radio2.